This is Miller's Edge on Tide 100.9.
Final Four is set with Purdue knocking off Tennessee on Sunday. NC State in the Final Four for the first time since they won it all in 1983.
This is the Miller's Edge with Christian Miller, two-time national champion and team captain for the Alabama Crimson Tide, and former Carolina Panther, and his father, Corey Miller, the pastor of pain, a 9-year NFL veteran with the New York Giants, and University of South Carolina Hall of Famer. This is the Miller's Edge.
This Monday edition of the Miller's Edge, this Final Four week edition of the Miller's Edge, is Alabama men's basketball got the job done over Clemson. Thank you, Lord, because we all know how we feel about Clemson. And on both of us, honestly, me especially, going against those guys several times in the college football playoffs and national championship games, which two of those losses that I had in those games actually came to the Tigers, the Clemson Tigers. So not a big fan of Clemson, which I wasn't anyways, because I grew up in Columbia, South Carolina, the backyard of South Carolina, which is where my dad is. So he's not a fan of Clemson either, but he joked around last week that he almost he almost had to pull for Clemson because as Alabama fans were getting on him a little bit. But we got the job done. We'll dive into that in a minute. We are going to get that legendary call from Chris Stewart. We'll play that in a minute because we will be joined by Chris Stewart himself at 12:30 Central Time, coming up in about 25 minutes. We'll have him joining us, talking about his experience calling that game, just kind of, what it was like, that atmosphere, being there, his opportunity to go to a Final Four, first time ever in school history, given his great story, which they gave him a nice nod on the TV cast. So we'll dive into all that again coming up 12:30 with Chris Stewart. But that being said, let's head on down to South Carolina and see how the Pastor Payne's feeling, because I don't know, man. I mean, like, you like a lot of people, were very, I wouldn't say you were dubious or doubtful, but again, you thought realistically it was going to be tough for Alabama to get to this point. But given, now that they're there, and there's a lot of other stuff we'll dive into as well, but I just want to start things off there. What'd you think of that game against Clemson overall? Kind of what were your thoughts after watching it?
Yeah, happy Monday, everybody. Hope you're doing well. It was a great weekend, a great all-around weekend of college basketball for the men's and the women's. Of course, we're getting all of that on today, but a great win by Alabama. And, again, I don't think anybody and their grandmother picked Alabama and or NC State to be if they did brackets. I mean, you might have picked them if you're just a true chapsticker, right? Just throw them in there because that's your team. But I don't think anybody realistically thought Alabama and or NC State would be one of the four teams left standing. But don't matter. you got to play the game. And somebody say that's why you play the game. You go out and play the game that's in front of you. That's what Alabama did. Alabama got a heck of a draw, and we know that when it comes to this tournament, that means about everything. Who's in your side of the bracket, and then upsets that occur during those games inside the bracket. I mean, Alabama, started off against Charleston, a heavy favorite, Grand Canyon favorite. They did beat a number 1 seed. You got to give them credit, a blue blood in North Carolina, although we all know North Carolina wasn't the same team as we're going to try to put them there. But it don't matter. You just got to beat the team that you got to play. And they were ranked. They had a 1 beside their name. A lot of people thought they weren't a number 1 seed. That's what the pundit said. Don't matter. Alabama got the job done. Then they go on and play Clemson, who was a number 6 seed, I believe. They were ranked higher than Clemson to get a chance to get to the Final Four of this NCAA tournament. A very, very tough game, a very fun game, a game that, you had 2 teams, had 2 different wills. Alabama wants to play fast. Alabama wants to shoot the threes. Clemson loves to play inside out with their bigs, Hall and those guys. They're physical. They're going to bang you. They want to slow it down. They want to muddy up the waters. And they had their chance to do a little bit of that as well. But in the end, it was Alabama knocking down threes. Mark Sears again started the game very cold, but he came on and he was lights out from the 3. How about Stevenson, a product from ACC territory? His mother played at North Carolina. He grew up in Chapel Hill. He chose Alabama. He was on fire. Those shots some air balls, but he came back and he nailed a 3 like, it was nothing. So a lot of great players. Pringle played very good in the basketball game, and I thought Alabama defense was better this ball game than it has been in many other games, and that's the reason why they are still standing in this tournament. Listen, there's Cinderella stories. I mean, always. NC State is a Cinderella story. NC State had no shot of getting in the NCAA tournament unless they won the ACC tournament. Well, they did. I mean, everybody talking about DJ Burns, the Pillsbury Doughboy. I mean, the dude is like come out of nowhere from Rock Hill, South Carolina. Played at Winthrop, a little small school in Rock Hill, South Carolina. Transferred to NC State. Big dude. Knows how to use his body extremely well. You can't get around him. He has absolute phenomenal footwork on the post, soft touch, and it's been working for him. And NC State is a Cinderella story. Alabama, I put close to a Cinderella story, but not so much. We knew Alabama was a good basketball team. That they didn't win the SEC. They didn't win the SEC tournament. They were a team that could score a lot of points, but it's got the tale of 2 halves. Noah and I joked about the other day. I mean, it's like if this team plays no defense and the 3-point shot isn't falling, they're probably going to lose games. If they're hitting shots from the outside and they're able to speed you up and they just, for that particular game, decide to play with energy and a little better defense, this team could probably play just about anybody in the country. So that's where we are. They got the good draw. They got the luck of the draw. They didn't have to play the toughest teams. And they started to play better defense. They hit their shots. And here they are, the first Final Four ever in the history of the University of Alabama. By the way, the guy's going to join us in a little while, Chris Stewart. Here's the final call as they make their way to Phoenix, Arizona for the Final Four. Here's what it sounded like. It was straight chaos and straight jubilation.
Inbounded to Nelson, had it knocked away, scramble, loose ball, clock running. They will fire it out to Girard, steps to his left, shoots a 3, hits it with 4.3 to go. Bama throws the home run to Estrada. Run clock, 2, 1, layup good, 1.9 to go. Tigers inbounded, clock hit 0, and let's get out of here and go to the Final Four.
Of you, give them hell, Alabama. Ramajama, give them hell, Alabama. The Tide heads back out to the West Coast. How crazy is that? All those games have been out on the West Coast. Time change and everything else, yet the Alabama Crimson Tide, Nate Oates and the boys get it done. They are now experiencing history. And Christian, I tweeted this the other day because I understand that South Carolina men's basketball team under Frank Martin years ago, when I was doing TV here in Columbia, South Carolina, as sports director of Fox Station, covering that tournament was phenomenal. And to see Sindarius Thornwell, to see P.J. Dozier, to see those guys, make history like that. And they end up beating a very good Duke team, who I think was the number 1 seed at the time in Greenville, and advancing to the Final Four. They got to hang the banner. They went on to play Gonzaga. I was there covering that game, very close game, had a chance to win that game to play for a national championship, but, they weren't favored at all. People thought they would be blown out, but that wasn't the case. So I said the other day in my my tweet that this Alabama team, though I was more talent than that team South Carolina had, but the whole situation is similar. They made their first Final Four ever as a men's basketball program. To be on that stage, to see the confetti falling, to cut down the nets, to put a trophy and a banner in your Coliseum means a whole lot, because it's not easy to get to. I mean, think about it. Alabama's been a good program. Think about the years Wimp Sanderson was there, the great players that he had, NBA guys, but they never made a Final Four. So think about the team last year, that you would think that would be the team who was the overall number 1 seed. They didn't make the Final Four. So that just goes to show you just never know. You got to have the right draw. You got to have the right attitude. Alabama had the stuff off the field stuff going on. The pressure was extremely high for them, to a team that really don't have any pressure. Nobody really is expecting much.
Right.
And just go out there and play and have fun and be loose. And now you're in the Final Four. And now you get to play the overall number 1 seed in Connecticut, UConn, who won the championship last year, which you're not going to be favored to win. Nobody expects you to win, but the people that pull for Alabama. So that's where you are. Again, I understand it. I know what the people are feeling. I felt the same feeling with the University of South Carolina. Had no business being a Final Four team. We knew that they had the talent-wise. I mean, there's so many other teams much better than they were. But it comes with luck. It comes with the luck of the draw. It comes with just being in the right place at the right time. And
great play.
There you are.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to diminish their play. I mean, I get what you're saying. I mean, I think we all know that their draw, I mean, you can say that they got a good draw. But ultimately, you still got to go out there and play. I mean, we've seen number 1 seeds who we thought had a good draw, but they go and fall to those 14 seeds, right? I mean, so I just don't want to over-harp on the seeding and undermine kind of their performance. I mean, because, again, you look at how they played these last several games. I mean, they've been playing some of their best basketball, especially on the defensive end. But, more specifically looking at this Clemson game, they start slow. Mark Sears, like you said, I don't think he scored hardly any points in the first half. He was kind of cold. Jaron Stevenson was stepping up, making some shots. We were down 13 points in the first half. But they stuck to their script. And I don't know if you heard this, but I think it's ironic that you talk about the analytics, which, again, I'm also not the biggest fan in terms of over-relying on analytics. But Nate Oates mentioned that I think they have a third-party analytics company that they actually brought with them and was running analytics through the course of the game. And they came to him at halftime and pretty much said, you're down X amount of points, but it's really because of these misses, these potential makes, whatever. And the analytics show that if you continue to do what you're doing, you should be up right now and you ultimately should win the game. And so they stuck to their script and they finally started hitting those shots. Mark Sears got hot. Jaron Stevenson continued to play some good basketball, making shots. And next thing you know, Alabama kind of took over. And on top of that, Wyatt's little analytics simulator now it's undefeated, right?
It's 4-0 right now.
It's 4-0, and his Clemson game.
They won't be undefeated come next week.
Of course, there he goes. But you said that this past game, the time before. Again, I'm not saying it's just, it's magic. I'm just saying, technically, the simulator / analytics have a much better percentage than you do right now.
Man.
No. Listen, I'm just having fun, but I'm just saying.
I didn't even pick the game last week. I didn't even pick.
No, but you picked UNC. But what I'm saying is his thing said 87, 77. I think it was like 89, 82. So it was in that ballpark. I just think it's funny. I'm not over-relying on it. I'm not saying whatever the simulator shows this week. That's going to be the case.
You drinking that analytical Kool-Aid? What's it saying this week? Ask White. I don't think he ran it just yet. We'll have him run it for fun. I'm sure he will, and he'll tweet it. So we'll tell people to go check it out. I promise you it won't say Alabama.
It's probably going to definitely say UConn. Just again, UConn's a really good basketball team. All I'm saying is this, though. I think, look, man, we got to give this team and Coach Oates, man, the credit that they deserve, right? I understand, like we talked about seeding, but
yeah,
they have had a heck of a tournament, and for them to finally kind of get back in motion, because let's not.
It's amazing.
Like you said, they're not. I wouldn't necessarily label this as a Cinderella story, because we know this is a heck of a basketball team.
I didn't call it Cinderella. I said NC State.
I didn't say you called it that. I'm talking about I'm speaking on my own behalf. I'm not talking about you. What I was saying was, I personally wouldn't say it's necessarily a Cinderella story, but the way they kind of finished the season, they were shaky. They started struggling. They kind of got into a rut. They didn't do well in the SEC tournament. And for them to kind of, and I like how they shouted out Coach Murphy with softball. Mudita, I think that's how you pronounce it. It's basically like, and I could be butchering this, but from what I remember Coach Murphy saying, it's kind of like playing for the person beside you, selflessness, right? And basically just put your team first. Isn't it? Of course, yes, it's sports, but it's a little bit deeper than that. I mean, look, you can jank it and say, oh, it's just sports, but it obviously, that mantra did something for this team. At least they're giving a lot of credit to it, and in their press conferences, I don't know if you actually watched those, but I didn't watch it.
I know we got some sound. I'd like to hear some of the sound.
Let's get to that, because again, at 12:30 we've got Chris Stewart coming up. We'll take a quick time out. Again,
that's why I want to talk to a man that was sitting right there, and man, what a freaking story. His story, Ernie Johnson from TNT. Just amazing. Can't wait to talk to him about that.
Yeah, no, it'll be great. Let's take a quick time out so we can make sure we get to him on time. You're listening to the Miller's Edge. Again, we are presented by the Good Feet Store, America's Arch Sport experts. You guys know the drill. If you're in any type of pain, foot pain, knee pain, or back pain, like me right now, sometimes you wake up a little stiff. Don't worry, head on over to the Good Feet Store and try on those premium arch sports that are designed to eliminate and alleviate all types of pain. Doesn't matter if you're an athlete, you're a mother, father, coach, whatever, you can pop these inserts in and they'll help you get rid of that pain. So again, go try those out at the Good Feet stores. Try before you buy, nothing to lose. Head on over to the Good Feet store in Midtown Village or goodfeet.com to schedule an appointment or find the nearest location to you. Again, that's Good Feet, improving the quality of people's lives.
Sniff Solo. Nice. Get 6 times longer lasting freshness plus odor protection with Downy Unstoppables in wash centipedes.
Tide 100.9 Tuscaloosa weather.
A very warm afternoon. The sky partly sunny, the high 82. For tonight, fair with a low at 65. Tomorrow, warm and breezy. Showers and thunderstorms by mid to late afternoon. Those storms could be strong to severe. The high 83. I'm James Spann on the ABC 3340 Weather Center on Tide 100.9. It's 75 degrees in Tuscaloosa.
This is Miller's Edge on Tide 100.9.
12:22 on the dial, the Miller's Edge, Monday edition. Hope you're doing well. The pastor of Payne, Corey Miller, Christian Miller, Chris Stewart, the voice of the Alabama Crimson Tide men's basketball team, will be joining us here in about 7.5 minutes. Can't wait to talk with him about the Tide getting a big win over that school from Pickens County. Many of you in Alabama maybe not even know what Pickens County is. That's Clemson, that little technical school up there. Kind of reference them like Auburn, booger eaters. And thank God Alabama won that game. My wife, who went to Clemson, my stepkids went to Clemson. So I'm feeling good about the A right here in this household for sure. Although, kind of like Alabama and Clemson, when you say anything about basketball and they lose, it don't really matter that much because, right, y'all are football schools. It's amazing now all the fans of Alabama are Nate Oates fans in basketball. I mean, Clemson did the same thing, but when they used to be bad, nobody cared too much because you're a football school. But people will change on you very differently. Nate Oates, so give him credit for what he has done. I mean, you think about this basketball team, Christian, players that they lost off that team last season, coaches that they have lost, to be able to get back in this game and to get this far. I said it even when I said the ceiling for Alabama was, when I said Sweet 16, I thought that was going to be the end for Alabama men's basketball, although I was wrong. But my point is still the same. I don't expect Alabama to win. They're not a national championship team. I don't see that happening any way, shape, or form. But it doesn't matter whether they ended at the Sweet 16 or it ends this weekend. I think you look at the job Nate Oates has done, and everybody's saying, well, now you got to build a Coliseum. And no. They should be building a new Coliseum regardless, because what he has done and is doing, not based on what they're at right now. Let's get Tommy from Romulus out real quick. 205-342-9904 before we get to Chris Stewart. Tommy, welcome in. Congratulations. Big victory. Final four.
Thank you. I am very happy. But you know what? I'm a greedy little sucker, or a fat little sucker. And I'm waiting for my national championship cap next Tuesday morning. That's what I'm shooting for. I'm not getting my Final Four. I'm a greedy human being, so I'm greedy.
Tommy, I mean, come on, man. You got a good gift. You're getting a banner that you're going to be able to hang in Coleman over there. You got a trophy that NATO's put a seatbelt on his airplane driving back. I mean, now you want another trophy? You want more confetti? That's not expected, right?
That's right, but I'm a greedy little sucker. You're not listening to me. I'm greedy. I'm greedy. Oh, I talked to Ellis this morning. I was worried that Ellis might be in jail. I thought he might got the chalk back out and went chalking on the sidewalk in Tennessee, but he didn't, so I'm glad Ellis is safe. I hate to mess with artists, but, he does mighty fine chalk art on the sidewalk up in Tennessee.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Yeah, so.
Yeah, it was really good, I thought. I thought he's very artistic.
Yes,
listen,
I'm encouraging his art. Yes, I'm encouraging.
We meaning the SEC, almost had two teams in the Final Four. Wouldn't that be crazy? I was pulling for Tennessee. I wanted to beat Purdue. I mean, Edney, 40 points was phenomenal in that ball game, although they don't call any fouls on him, but they call everything when it comes against him. But I thought Tennessee, was playing some great basketball and is a very, very good basketball team. I wanted them to see them in that tournament. I mean, to have two SEC teams in the Final Four would have been phenomenal.
Well, sure. I mean, the Big Ten was squawking after the first round. The first day we lost 3 teams. Like, I thought the SEC was becoming a basketball conference. Well, I guess we are, but Purdue's in there. So, Purdue respected to be there. And you got a 7'3" or 4 center and the talent. They should be there. I mean, they got put out the first round last year. So, I mean, anything possible. I'm proud.
They've been a good program. I'm happy for their coach. I mean,
sure.
Listen, I think Purdue probably will give Connecticut the best run, in my opinion. That's just my opinion, but I'm happy for them. But I did want Tennessee to win that ball game, just to have two SEC teams in there. But you can't take away, as Christian said, diminish what the Tide did and where they came from, especially the last week, 10 days of their season, man. They looked terrible. I mean, they didn't play any good basketball. But to flip the script and turn things around, kudos to Nate Oates and that basketball team for being ready to play and getting to where they are, which is the Final Four.
Well, I'll admit to you, you told me if Alabama was going to get past the second round, I probably told you no 3 weeks ago. I mean, you lose 4 out of your last 6, and you had to win one of them in overtime. I mean, on senior day, they didn't look good. I mean, they wasn't playing. Like I said today, I made a comment. You want to play your best basketball the end of March. But now, since it's April, and it's April Fool's, folks, but we really in the Final Four. We want to play great basketball now.
That's right.
Make something that haven't been done. Like somebody said, well, Alabama, first time ever, Lottie. You know what? We there? Let's take it. I mean, go there, look at the scenery. Let's get it. Bring that trophy back. And I'm going to give Greg Burns kudos. He signed him, got him locked up, and now we're in the Final Four. His stocks have gone up, both of them, Greg Burns and Nate Oates. And this is going to help our recruiting class. Alabama, sports-wise, is looking up.
Oh, it is.
In a lot of sense.
And I agree with you. I mean, I know it is nice to celebrate this first ever Final Four, but at the same time, I kind of have that mindset that, like you, Tommy, if you're there, it's time to go all out and don't be satisfied. It's a great accomplishment. If that is the end of the road, we'll celebrate that once, we are at the end of the road. But as of now, we still have a big opportunity. And, it's not going to be an easy challenge. Yeah. But, again, they're prepared. And that's why I always say, I know they struggled towards the end of the season, but I'm a firm believer, if you've done it before, you can do it again. And they showed early on in the season and throughout the season that they're a very talented basketball and a tough basketball team to beat when they're firing all cylinders. They hit a little slump. They hit a rut But you can't forget, they still have that potential in them. It's just they have to get it out of themselves, and we're seeing Coach Oates and his team really pull it out of them at the right time. So, Tommy, we've got to hit the break real quick so we can get Chris Stewart on. But, man, we appreciate you calling in. I'm sure we'll talk soon.
All right, man. Y'all have a good one.
Yes, sir.
All right, two-time Tommy from Romulus. All right, we've got to do a quick break. Come back. The voice of the Alabama Crimson Tide, Chris Stewart, will join us and talk about the win on the West Coast to propel the Tide into the Final Four of the NCAA tournament. That's coming up next. Right on the Tide, 100.9, 1230 AM WTBC, the home of Alabama Crimson Tide Sports. Back in a moment.
I'm pulling them off. 24/7 U.S.-based customer service. It pays to Discover. Limitations apply. Learn more at discover.com/creditcard.
Hey, it's Christian Miller, and I want to tell you about our great friends over at Bryan Harding Construction. Located in the heart of Tuscaloosa, Bryan Harding Construction is woman-owned and strong as steel. A specialty manufacturing firm with expertise in structural steel fabrication, ASME code piping and vessels, CNC machine work, welding, laser cutting, pipe fitting, industrial maintenance, and crane rentals. With a proven track record of over 30-plus years of experience, no one is better fit for the job. For an evaluation, contact Bryan Harding Construction today at 205-752-9611. Again, that's Bryan Harding Construction at 205-752-9611.
This is Miller's Edge on Tide 100.9.
And welcome back into this Monday edition of the Miller's Edge right here, Tide 100.9, 1230 AM WTBC, presented by the Good Feet Store, America's Art Support Experts, where we're now joined by the voice of Alabama men's basketball, my partner, Chris Stewart. Chris, how are you this morning? Or this afternoon, I should say.
I'm great. You guys gave me Magic Stick as my walk-up music there. I can't. How can I not be good after that?
There you go. That's right. Well, I know you've had a busy, probably last, I guess, 2 weeks. I'm assuming you've been gone the whole time as well. Man, how has it been? On the road and coming up with some big wins alongside that basketball team, and obviously some really good calls.
Well, you're nice, but wonderfully exhausting is how I describe it, because it has absolutely been nuts. Yeah, I was on the road. I guess we were gone 12 straight days. When you have, we left on a Tuesday for the start of the tournament, played on Thursday and Saturday, I guess it would have been. Then from there, no, I'm sorry, played on Friday and Sunday in Spokane, came back down, flew down, I should say, to L.A., and were there from Monday morning through yesterday. Good Lord, what is today? Today, Monday? Help me out.
It's Monday.
Honestly,
it's Monday. Yes,
yeah,
sir.
because we flew yesterday morning. Pacific time, left about 11 o'clock or so, maybe around noon Pacific, got back into Tuscaloosa, and I got home to McCalla, and got to celebrate my son's 19th birthday, and
Happy
enjoyed
birthday.
that. Then, yeah, Parker's a freshman at Alabama and doing great, and but he's 19 and got to enjoy the family time, and then got some sleep and needed it. And today just been trying to wash clothes and get ready to fly back out tomorrow to Phoenix.
Well, we appreciate you joining us, because I figured you were busy, but I was like, man, I'd love to get you on here to talk just about your experience. Even I know it's been a whirlwind, but just talk about special. I mean, I can only imagine what it was like. I mean, from your experience and your perspective, kind of just give us like a rundown of what those last couple of games were like for the Crimson Tide and for you, being able to witness history.
Yeah, guys, I competed in sports, and kid growing up through high school, so I would never put myself in category of what you guys did at the highest level. But if you've competed in sports, you know what it's like to sacrifice something for winning and losing, and what you go through for that. Well, my job's different. I'm a storyteller, and I'm the the storyteller for a school or for a team. And so you feel a connection and you're tight with those people, and you feel the pain of the loss, the joy of the wins, but you really don't have anything to do with the outcome. You as a competitor have a chance to do your part, and I know it takes the team to do it, but you've at least got a role in winning or losing. Well, I don't, but I get to reap the benefits of being around it, being a part of it when something special happens, and you deal with the struggles when things aren't going well. So I've been around some really good teams, fortunate in my career. I did Birmingham Southern for 8 years and got the privilege of broadcasting a basketball and a baseball national championship at the NAIA level. But this is obviously one of the biggest stages you'll find, literally. And to have the chance to go and do my first Division I men's basketball Final Four and all of the things that encompass that, I'm beyond excited and grateful for the opportunity. But it's already been fun to tell the story of Alabama's first Final Four berth in the history of the program. It's, fortunate to be on site at the last 5 national championships that Alabama's won in football, and some heartbreaking losses in a couple of others along the way. But this is such rarefied air for basketball that I'm so incredibly fortunate to be there and have a chance to have a front row seat.
No doubt about it. Well deserved, Chris. And, of course, if anybody deserves that, it's you. Let's talk about that, because nobody's as close to this basketball team and NATO as you are when you cover the team. You travel with them, you're around them, you have the shoot-arounds, you're having dinner with them and all that good stuff. The last, 7-10 days of the season was kind of skeptical. People were saying, hey, what's going on? This team not as good. And all of a sudden, you get to the tournament, you get your draw, you figure out who you're playing. That was Charleston to start the NCAAs. And then here you go. It seems like, to me, from the outside looking in, there's a newfound energy, better defense, better team chemistry. What would you say has been the difference with this basketball team? Because they definitely, from the eye, looking on TV, look a lot different.
Yeah, I think part of it is on the front end of the tournament is getting healthy. They got Rylan Griffin and Latrell Reitzel back on the floor at the same time for the first game and a half of the first and second rounds. And that had been missing down the stretch, and I think that played a major role in them not winning at least a share of a third regular season SEC title in 4 years. But the other aspect is that when they did lose Latrell again, they had built up some confidence and knew, all right, here's what we got to do on the defensive end. They finally got it figured out together. It's not that coaches hadn't been preaching it all year, because they had, but they finally got it together. They got good matchups for them. I would never say easy, because those teams they played were worthy of being in the tournament, and Grand Canyon earned their spot into that game against Alabama. But then, Tide plays a great ball game against North Carolina and gets it done there, and then move on and do what they did in beating a Clemson team that's just tough, physical, and already beaten them once. So the confidence that was gained, the grind, the mental toughness, as well as the physical toughness, were all pieces that I think just allowed them to get into this spot. And look, it's not like this is David versus Goliath. UConn's great. They have been beaten. It's not often, and you've got to play incredibly well just to have a chance. But this team is playing right now the best we have seen probably since they got on that roll and led the league and were, won by 25 at home against Texas A&M, which turned out to be a tournament team too. So this is if you got to face them, this is a really good time to catch them.
Chris, the last two games, we had two separate guys step up that were, I would probably label maybe a little inconsistent through the season, and Grant Nelson, Jaron Stevenson. But just talk about how important those guys and their performances the last two games were for this team. Again, because you talk about against North Carolina, Grant Nelson was just phenomenal on both ends, and especially down the stretch. And then just recently against Clemson, Jaron Stevenson, a young player. Coach Oates talked about how he grew up. How important were those two guys with this run?
Oh, it's huge. You go back even before that, Mo Diabate's play against Grand Canyon down the stretch was unbelievable, and that's what it's about this time of year. I mean, your stars have to be stars, but your role players sometimes have to play bigger roles than what they're accustomed to. And Mo did that against GCU, and you're right, Grant had not been his best in the last month necessarily, but good Lord, to go for a double-double like he did in that ball game against the Heels, and then played well despite being in foul trouble against Clemson. But, man, I was so happy for Jaron Stevenson. We forget, even though we try to remind him a lot during the broadcast, but it's a fact. I mean, the guy's supposed to be a high school senior right now. He's supposed to be getting ready for prom, and instead he's getting ready for the Final Four. He declared early. Bama got him out of Chapel Hill. He did not play great against his hometown team. That's not surprising. It's a lot of pressure, and plus they're good. And while he was jacked up for that game, they were probably jacked up to teach the kid a lesson. And he didn't do a whole lot against them. But, dear Lord, there's no way we win that game against Clemson without what he did. Just shot it phenomenally well. He's been a good three-point shooter this year, but it's normally, one or two here or there. He gets a season-high 5 in that particular game, and I laughed. I told him post-game, I said, your first 4 3-point shots, none of them touched the rim, but only 2 of them went through the net because he shot 2 air balls. And if it hadn't been for gravity, man, those things would still be floating in space right now. But he got over the nerves quick, man, and made, I think, his last probably 5 of his last 6 or 7 from 3, and just a wonderful young man, and excited for him and his teammates. And look, it'll take a similar effort. I'm not saying he's got to go for 19 again, but this team is capable of creating some real problems for UConn. And I hope they go play loose, relaxed, with confidence, and see what happens.
Yeah, they're in the Final Four, man. Just got to have fun, enjoy that moment, and you deserve to be there, and hopefully they'll play that way. Chris Stewart, the voice of Alabama men's basketball, and now the football team, I should say, as well. Looking forward to that, the upcoming season. But, man, I must say, I enjoyed the game, and I was excited, Chris, just like everybody else. But when I was watching the coverage to hear one of my favorite broadcasters, Ernie Johnson, who I watch Chuck and Kenny and Ernie and those guys, Shaq, all the time, one of the best that there is. But when he gives you that type of accolade based on what you have gone through in your own personal life, I mean, I love to keep talking basketball, but I think for me, the biggest thing was what he said about you and the love that he showed you, suffering the stroke, the heart issues, to go through, a troubled time in your own personal life, and to bounce back and to see history been made just a couple of days ago. Man, I know as one just suffered a stroke himself 4.5 months ago, and to be back doing this radio, I'm so thankful and blessed. So I know when you hear all of that, just talk about how that had to kind of replay in your mind and your heart, man, just to know that, man, thank you, Lord, for where you brought me from.
You said it the right way. Thank you, Lord. And I don't say it lightly or flippantly. That's the only explanation. God's grace and mercy that was not anything that I deserved based on who I am or what I've done, but for whatever reason, he chose to bless me, and I'm so thankful that was the case. But I was a kid listening to Ernie's dad, Ernie Sr., do Braves games on TBS, and Skip Carey, Pete Van Wieren, and it was just so cool to watch them. And I've never met Ernie Jr. before, but always admired him and respected him. And to stand there in my hotel room, piece that was produced so kindly by TBS or on me, and to have him say the things that he did around that, and then somebody sent me what he did at the end of the broadcast, after the game. It was one of the most amazing things that's ever happened to me, certainly in my career and probably in my personal life too. And I got his number through a mutual friend and in the business who were there actually with Turner and CBS, and sent him a text to thank him for it and tell him how much I'm looking forward to meeting him and shaking his hand this week once I get to Phoenix. But that was incredibly special, and I'm honored that I get a chance to do what I do, where I get to do it, and some really unbelievable moments in my life through those experiences, and that was certainly one of them.
Yes, sir. Wow, that's such great
special,
stuff, man.
Man.
I wanted to ask you that, and then I know you're busy, man. To get home and the time change, being one Christian and I that had to go play. Football, you don't get that. You don't get a week. It's kind of like, man, you get a day, maybe a day, leave on Friday for West Coast games to try to get acclimated to that time change. And we know the difficulty in that, and then come back home and repack, wash some clothes, and then head back out to do it again. So we definitely appreciate you and what you're doing, and just give us a few minutes of your precious time. So, man, God bless you. Man.
Well,
thank you so much.
Appreciate you. Yeah, time change wasn't an issue because I ain't slept much the last few days, so time didn't matter on the clock. I was just ready my head to hit the pillow whenever I could. But I appreciate you guys. It's always fun to be on with you, and hopefully we're talking about a national title a week from now when I get back.
That's the goal, Chris. Again, man, thank you so much, man. Appreciate what you do.
Anytime.
Safe travels, man. We'll talk soon.
Sounds good. You guys take care.
Yes,
Thank
sir.
you, Chris.
You too. Chris Stewart.
There he is.
Voice of Alabama men's basketball and football, like you said. So yeah. I can only imagine how tired he is. That's awesome, though.
Listen, you got to have energy. As he said, he is a storyteller, and knowing a lot of the guys, especially South Carolina when I played, and of course the Giants, guys that travel with us and calling the games. I mean, they have a big task. I mean, getting to know all the stories. And you talk about Stevenson being from Chapel Hill. I alluded to that in my opening. Not going to North Carolina, when you're talking about the Blue Bloods there, Duke's right down the road, Wake Forest, NC State, all those schools, all four schools are right there, probably 30 minutes from each other. But he comes to Tuscaloosa and then didn't play well against North Carolina. Those guys are tasked to know these stories and the backgrounds and, bring that energy to people that's listening, because they want you to act like you feel, or at least feel like you're there at the game. And he does a phenomenal job. So congratulations to him and his expanded role now being the full-time voice of the Alabama football team as well. But boy, what a joy, what a ride he's on right now, and going to the Final Four. And I can tell you, I've been there, covered it. It is crazy. You're playing these huge stadiums, and if tickets are crazy, you probably can't see. I had a pretty good seat to media, but man, I'd much rather be home to watch. I can go to the bathroom, I can get my drinks, my food. I have so much more fun doing it that way. But I know this is going to be a situation that he will never, ever forget. All right, final break of hour number one. We'll come back. We'll wrap up this hour. We got a lot to get into, including the women's Final Four games, or not Final Four, Elite Eight tonight, a chance to get to the Final Four. And I believe every eye is on Iowa, is on LSU women's basketball tonight. Southern Cal, Connecticut. You talking about beast? You talking about star power? It's happening tonight. Get your popcorn ready, one man said. That'll be Terrell Owens, because it's going to be good. We'll come back and finish up the hour right here on the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 AM WTBC. We're the home of Alabama Crimson Tide Sports. Back in a moment.
Coming up on The Game with Ryan Fowler.
Coming up on the Monday edition of The Game, a very special guest. Coming up starting at 2 p.m., we'll talk to Drew DeArmond. We'll talk to Barrett Salee. We'll talk to Martin Houston. And we're going to see if Alabama's still dancing. We'll recap Alabama and Clemson all starting at 2 p.m. here on The Game on Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC, your home of Alabama Crimson Tide Sports.
The longest running sports.
When you see it.
More importantly, when she sees it.
FincherandOsmond.com.
McFarland Boulevard between Edgar's and Local Roots.
Hey, it's Christian Miller, and I want to tell you about our great friends over at Brian Harding Construction. Located in the heart of Tuscaloosa, Brian Harding Construction is woman-owned and strong as steel, a specialty manufacturing firm with expertise in structural steel fabrication, ASME code piping and vessels, CNC machine work, welding, laser cutting, pipe fitting, industrial maintenance, and crane rentals. With a proven track record of over 30-plus years of experience, no one is better fit for the job. For an evaluation, contact Brian Harding Construction today at 205-752-9611. Again, that's Brian Harding Construction at 205-752-9611.
Tide 100.9 Tuscaloosa weather.
A very warm afternoon. The sky partly sunny, the high 82. For tonight, fair with the low at 65. Tomorrow, warm and breezy. Showers and thunderstorms by mid to late afternoon. Those storms could be strong to severe. The high 83. I'm James Spann on the ABC 3340 Weather Center on Tide 100.9. It's 75 degrees in Tuscaloosa.
This is Miller's Edge on Tide 100.9.
We're all the way up here on a Monday edition of Miller's Edge on Tide 100.9, 1230 AM WTBC. Many thanks again to the voice of Alabama's men's basketball team and Alabama's football team, Chris Stewart, who joined us the last segment. A lot of great stuff there, breaking down the game, talking about his experience covering the game, and then the great words from the great broadcaster, Ernie Johnson of Turner Sports. Amazing, just amazing. So happy for Chris and the opportunity that he has of calling history coming up this weekend. As Alabama now, Christian gets set to take on UConn. I mean, they talked about the love fest, enjoying it. We see the confetti with the cutting out of the nets, slapping of the name, moving forward. All that stuff is good, but you have to be able to flush it. Even though this is a historical moment for the Crimson Tide, they have to be able to say, now, you know what, this is over. I don't think Nate Oates is probably sitting around there smiling at his trophy right now of winning that side of the bracket. Or the west side of the bracket. I think he's focused now on this team, Danny Hurley and UConn, who won the national championship last year, a team that I believe has won every game by 30. They went on a 30-0 run against Illinois, a very good basketball team when it was decently close. And then out of nowhere, it was over. This is the next giant for the Crimson Tide, Christian, a game that many are not going to think Alabama can play with and win. But again, we've seen crazier things happen. This team is playing their best basketball, as Chris was talking about. I mean, they're shooting well from the outside. It's been a different guy that seemed to step up. You talk about Grant Nelson against North Carolina. You talk about Stevenson against Clemson, coming out the woodwork, hitting those threes. I mean, they're going to have to play out of their head to beat UConn. I mean, that's just a fact. I mean, this is a good basketball team. This is a team that can beat you however you want to play. They can play fast like Alabama likes to play. They got the big men that they can bang. They can hit the boards. They can do all of that as well. When you talk about one of the most complete teams in this tournament, it's definitely UConn. So they are the team to beat. They're the team everybody predicted to win, to go back-to-back. But again, if you're Alabama, as former athletes, we can tell you they're not sitting there thinking we can't win the game. No athlete. If you're an athlete that think you're going to lose, then you should get out the locker room. Right? It's like, that's you don't true. Want to get off my team. No athlete. Now, fans and the pundits and people that cover it, they're going to give their predictions like we're doing right now. But it doesn't matter. I mean, what matters is what Nate Oates and what those players in that locker room thinks. And I can tell you, none of them are thinking they're going to lose the game. They're not going into this game. They know who they're facing. They know the challenge that lies in front of them. But they're not going in this game thinking they're going to lose. They're going with the mindset of winning this game despite what all the pundits are saying.
Right. Yeah, and I think, there's some positivity regarding Wrightsville. I think there's some hope and confidence that he'll be available, which, he hadn't been available the past couple of games, and they've been finding a way, but it obviously would help to have a guy like that in the rotation. But I almost wonder, this might sound stupid, but, you've won without him the last two games, right? He didn't play against North Carolina or Clemson. So, I almost wonder, do you just have him ready to come off the bench, right? Because you don't want to throw off the lineup that's been working for you. Again, that might sound dumb, but I think of it in terms of if it ain't broke, don't fix it or whatever the thing is. I don't know. But with that being said, no, you're right. They should be confident. They're playing some good basketball. Look, they're a talented team. This is not some Cinderella story. If they finished the regular season better and performed better in the SEC tournament, they could have been an even better seed in this tournament. So, that being said, I'm excited. I'm looking forward to it. I hope that they continue to ride this momentum of just playing tough, playing good defense, finding their rhythm, playing with good team chemistry, and really you could just see it. They're playing with a lot of passion, man. They're like. When you see them hit these shots, man, or Nick Pringle, right? He's passionate down in the paint, right? He's fighting for rebounds. When he gets fouled, that's the energy that this team needs to play with if they want to be successful. And obviously, nail their shots, play good defense. But it's just exciting, man. It's just so exciting seeing what this program is doing, the job that Coach Oates is doing. I'm definitely looking forward to it. I know you mentioned. The women's Elite Eight that will be tonight. I'm excited about that. LSU versus Caitlin Clark in Iowa. Speaking of LSU, I know we talked a little bit about Kim Mulkey, that report. I read a little bit of what they were talking about. I'll be honest with you. It didn't sound like that. Basically
the article
saying,
Kent Babb wrote was a great piece. And I think she overstepped her boundaries.
I would not. I didn't read the article, but I think the negative parts to it were saying some of the that maybe she was. How would you say this? Basically treated some of the players differently depending on their sexuality or something like that. That's were gay. But I was trying to just word it, politely, I guess. But
that's what the paper said.
I know. But it's 2024. You just got to be polite and tread lightly. But I will say this though. What was interesting was it was I guess two of her players were in a relationship, and one of them said that she was mistreated because of her sexuality. But then the girlfriend at the time, or ex-girlfriend, was quoted saying there was no mistreatment. So, that's why I think you just got to be careful the things that you read, because if you only get one perspective, it can paint a whole picture without hearing other perspectives and things of that nature. But
well, that's why you talk. The man went 2 years trying to get her to talk, to give her a microphone to say to her why there wasn't.
I'm just telling you, if I know somebody's writing an article and it's painting me in a negative light, it's trying to highlight every single negative thing that they can find. I get that. Okay,
I don't think it painted her in a negative light. I think she jumped the gun on that.
She might have jumped the gun, but if someone is trying to do that, in my opinion, or at least for me personally, I get what you're saying. Oh, you can go and be interviewed and try to clear the air. But here's what I do know about journalists. They're going to write their narrative, okay? So, if their narrative is you treat people wrong, you do this, even if they're interviewing you, you can sit there and try to defend yourself and say, oh, well, this is why I did this, or I did not do that like that. They're going to put pieces of what you said in there, but at the end of the day, they're still going to try, and Wyatt's nodding his head because he knows it's true. They're still going to try to navigate it to fit their, just like, for instance, when me and you come on this show. If I'm saying something positive and you're saying, and your thought is, okay, well, I don't think they're going to win because of this, you're going to come up with the facts like we've talked about. Oh, well, this is why they're not going to do this.
I'm going to always support my argument.
No, exactly. So you're supporting. So that's what journalists do. And that's why I think, personally, I would rather not even fool with that, because I know they're going to do that anyway. I'd rather go out on my own platform and denounce it.
But here's the bottom line. If you deny of speaking to the media, we know what the media does. But if you deny, then you open up for the media to say what they want to say. They get all the love. Right? That's why when we talk about Kalen DeBoer and his coaches, when I say stuff like that, because I really don't need. It's great to hear what they have to say. I know what I'm going to see, what I'm going to watch. But if you don't talk to people, then you're going to open it up for the people to say what they want to say and give you their own opinion without you having any say-so. And that's a difference. But that wasn't a bad thing, because the article from the Washington Post wasn't bad. Kent Babb did a phenomenal job. It was a phenomenal piece, and it went back to dissecting her relationship with her father, her estranged father, to her sister, not just the basketball girls. And I know where she thought it was going to go, but it didn't just go that way. And I thought it was a fine piece. But the other article we'll talk about as we talk about this game was, I don't even know why I'm going to have to break it down when we come back. What is debutantes and all that word? Because that's been the big thing. And I think since then they've gone back and changed that. But calling them UCLA girls cookies and milk and calling the LSU girls debutantes. So I want to get into some of that. Plus the big matchup tonight.
Let me land this real quick.
Hold that thought. Hold it.
I was going to say real quick, just if people wanted, they're talking about her aggressive nature. Dude, if you went and did that about Coach Saban, how he coaches and things that he might have said while he's coached, I mean, like, let's just be real. So I think some of these reports is way too soft. And you would agree with me on that, because you know how hard-nosed coaches coach. They're unfiltered. But if you want to go and write an article about everything that Coach has said or any of these great coaches said, I mean, it'd probably be lengthy. And it probably wouldn't sound great on paper. Yeah. But if you're in the locker room, you understand. All right, let's take a quick time out. Again, you're listening to The Miller's Edge, presented by the Good Feet Store, America's art support experts. We'll be right back.
WTBC Tuscaloosa and W265CG Tuscaloosa, a Town Square media station. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app. It's the Tide 100.9 30K workday payday. Woo! Win cash every weekday 8 to 5. Here's this hour's cash code.
761. Again, that's 761. The code is 761.
Enter that code now on the Tide 100.9 app. Click on the 30K payday button and enter the code for a chance to win $30,000.
From the Fox Sports Studios in Los Angeles, here's Nick Cope.
The NBA's reigning MVP is nearing a return just in time for the playoffs, with reports saying 76er star Joel Embiid is expected to return to the court this week, and he could play as soon as Tuesday against the Thunder. Embiid has completed 5-on-5 scrimmages in recent days as he works back from a procedure on his left knee. Philly is currently the 8th seed in the East. Jazz general manager Justin Zanuck is scheduled to receive a kidney transplant on Tuesday to address a genetic kidney disease. Zanuck said he'll be resting for 3 to 6 weeks, and then he'll resume his full-time duties. SMU officially named former USC coach Andy Enfield as its next head basketball coach.
RiverResort.com. Lone Star. Saturday, May 25th, Pearl River Resort's Silver Star Convention Center.
365, 24/7. You'll find road and utility crews, tow trucks, law enforcement, and first responders working along Alabama's roadway.
We're making improvements and helping our communities stay connected.
We're working hard to make sure you're safe on the road. Now we need your help to make sure we're safe too.
Alabama's move over law requires you to move over a lane when you see flashing lights on the roadside. And if you can't safely move over, please slow down.
Visit DriveSafeAlabama.org, brought to you by the Alabama Department of Transportation, Alabama Broadcasters Association, and this station.
Are you receiving unemployment? Your benefits could be at risk. Here's how you can protect yourself and your benefits. Never respond to mail notifying you of a false claim in your name. Never answer a text message asking you to verify your account. And only respond to official Alabama Department of Labor's social media pages. Report fraud at labor.alabama.gov/fraud. Brought to you by the Alabama Department of Labor, ABA, and the station. The Alabama Department of Labor is an equal opportunity employer program. Auxiliary aids and services available upon request to individuals with disabilities. Dial 711 for TTY accessibility.
This is Miller's Edge on Tide 100.9.
Rolling right along, hour number 2 on the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9. Corey Miller, Christian Miller, my man Wyatt Fulton behind the glass, getting it done with the nice sounds, controlling and driving this show. Again, many thanks to the voice of Alabama men's basketball team and Alabama football, Chris Stewart, for joining us the last hour. We'll pile that up and get that on the socials in case you missed it. You can go back and listen to that very, very good interview as he got home enough time to celebrate his son's birthday, 19th birthday, who he said is at the University of Alabama right now. And then he's going to do a little load of laundry and maybe pick up some dry cleaning. And then they're going to head back out tomorrow, back to the West Coast. Listen, man, if you're an Alabama player, because the West Coast is beautiful and it's a lot warmer. You know, the weather here is beautiful today, the last couple of days. Man, that's pretty cool to be able to go out there and play basketball and hang out in the West Coast because everybody's fit and in shape, eating a lot of fish tacos, and, you know, life is good. 205-342-9904, the number for the program. We're going to switch gears here just a little bit, talk about tonight's matchup, 7 o'clock Eastern time. Big women's basketball game, the Elite Eight. A matchup of last year's national championship game. LSU will take on Caitlin Clark and the Iowa Hawkeyes. This game is drawing a lot of attention. Should be fun. It's a popcorn, get your popcorn ready type of basketball game. Angel Reese, the Bayou Barbie is what they call her and her teammates. Very boisterous, very loud, very confident.
Is that your speed? I saw you tweet something about the post-game interview.
There's some other adjectives I can use, but
let's be careful there. But I mean, is that your speed though? Because here, only reason I asked that is I remember like a year ago or whenever they won, and she was doing the whole ring me taunt in front of Caitlin Clark. Personally, I thought it was extremely distasteful. Like listen, I'm all for why it's like look. My thing is this. I'm all for, like, I know in sports we trash talk, whatever. Like, I mean, me and the tackle will go back and forth all game. Me and the tight end will go back and forth. Not like all game, but I get that. But to me, like going in somebody's face like that is a little extra. Like, after we beat Georgia in the national championship, like, I didn't walk around saying, go ring me in front of, who did we play that year? I can't remember his name right now, the quarterback. But anyway, I didn't go do all that. Jake Fromm, there you go. Thank you. They had Justin Fields on their roster one year we played them because he came in for the
next year in the SEC championship.
I was about SEC. They had Justin Fields because he came in on a fake punt. It was like the most glaring. I mean, we're like clearly
he was holding Kirby's Gatorade cup.
Yeah, he was, which is crazy. But which I forgot I put against him there. But long story short, personally, I thought that was a little too much going in her face. Now she was walking around just saying "ring me" cool, but like. I don't know, but
I didn't mind that. It's just what it is.
Yeah, you didn't mind that one, but a lot of people were torn on social media. A lot of people.
But Caitlin Clark is not innocent either. I mean,
no.
I don't think she does.
I don't think she is. No, I don't think she's. But the reason I brought that one up is because now I've been seeing some of your tweets, and it seems like you kind of can't stand this LSU women's basketball team because some of the theatrics and things that they kind of how they.
Well, I think that you take on a persona of your coach, right?
Right.
Although I heard what Kim Mulkey said about her era, where she came from, the hardness of coaching. I'm all about that. I'm old school. You know that. I don't mind that. But her girls are just loud, and they say things, like just like drive me nuts. Like Angel Reese, I'm from Baltimore to, and then the coach goes with South Carolina to fight the SEC championship game, and you bet not hit. I mean, even she talking like people in my old hood. You bet not hit Angel Reese. I mean, like, why would you even say that when Dawn Staley was making an apology on national television to ESPN? But their coach, she's picking on somebody that's smaller than her. Well, she's 6'7" and a woman. There's not too many people going to be her size. I mean, listen, come on, people. It's like I don't mind them playing hard. I don't mind confidence. I don't mind moxie. I like all of that. I like cockiness. But they go overboard. When they're screaming in the microphone in post-game and then Angel Reese talking about, come on, let's get that bag. I mean, when we're saying this kind of stuff, I can't stand that.
So it's a little
now
too far.
It's because it's selfishness instead of team-oriented, right? And that's what drives me nuts with Angel Reese and with Flo J and with the rest of her teammates. That's why I'm glad they talk all that smack, and they're very lucky that Iowa got, they fouled out Aaliyah Boston, which it was cheating, by the way. and they had a chance to play Iowa because South Carolina just had beat them by 34 points. You know, South Carolina was the best basketball team in the country. They got the trophy, but we know South Carolina was the best basketball team in the country, and they lost their whole starting five, and they hadn't lost a game since. I mean, but that being said, I don't like Kim Mulkey. I think she, with her outfits, I mean, even just.
I mean, I'm not worried about her outfits.
I mean, squatting down. I mean, come on, you got to be respectful. You got to be over there where the camera's paying when you squat down, and all everybody's talking about is your boobs and your fake boob job because you got a low cut top, bending over. Yeah, go back and. I mean, it's just like. It's ridiculous. Like, be professional. You over there with your boobs hanging out as a basketball coach.
All right.
I mean, my whole point is this. I don't like her, and I think she got some kids that are hardcore kids. I mean, we know Angel came from Baltimore. I know about the hood. I played in New York for almost a day. I get all of that. And I'm not hating on that. But at some point in time, I mean, you just got to be more controlled. And she needs to take more control of her basketball team. And so I tend to believe that she had a problem with homosexual girls. I tend to believe the way she didn't even, her former player, the Coach Love player that's in the issue with Brittany Griner, her silence said everything to me. I tend to believe all of that. So therefore, I can't stand their basketball program.
I mean, let me ask you something.
And I'm pulling for Caitlin Clark, who I don't like either. But that's the thing. I want them girls to shut up. Somebody got to shut them up. We shut them up all the time. Unfortunately, I haven't been on the title. Hopefully, we both get the national title game and then do our business. But we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just saying. My thing is, and I kind of said it a minute ago.
Did Wyatt look up what debutantes mean? I wanted to know what debutantes was.
I mean, he's taking the phone call right now because, again, 205-342-9904 is the number to call in, or you can always leave those app messages with the Tide 100.9 app, and we'll get to those as well. But, no, look, here's my thing. I think, all right, starting with the coach, I think she's old school. You know what I mean? I think it's just kind of, I mean, think about Coach Saban. I mean, he's very old school. I mean, I never was coached by Kim.
Yeah, but he wouldn't even let y'all wear earrings. I mean, come on, that's a different kind of old school.
Right. But so what I'm saying is, I mean, you got to expect kind of certain things when you play for a coach like that. You know what I mean? Like you'd be a fool to say, "Oh, I'm going to sign up to go play for Coach Saban," but not expect to be, yelled at, coached hard, held accountable. Like, I'm not saying again. Maybe she did. There was some mistreatment depending on if a player was gay or whatever it was. I don't know. But, I mean, some players might have said that in the article, but then I also saw other players said there is no mistreatment. I saw current players defend her. And I also saw, I think, Floje, I hope I'm pronouncing her name right, her mom was saying that basically defending Coach Mulkey and said that she trusts her child with Coach Mulkey. So, I mean, with all that being said, look, I'll be honest. The outspoken nature of their basketball team is too much for me. But that's just me personally, because I'm not like that. I've never really been that type of person. I don't flaunt. I don't really taunt. Like I said, I might go back and forth, get a little, chirpy with the guy I'm playing against, and then we dap up at the end of the game, kind of laugh. I mean, like that's one thing. But they're very. I mean, it's just, I don't know. It's a little much for me. But I just find it interesting because I initially I thought you were all for, because it seemed like you were defending them last year because you felt like
in the beginning because people
were
called her ghetto and all this kind of
I was about to say,
but they called her ghetto.
Well, that's all. But I'm not trying to be funny, but are you not indirectly kind of saying that when you say, "Oh, they're being too loud and stuff"? I mean, it's kind of.
Yeah, I said that they hadn't like some people about how I grew up, but
that's what I'm saying. So, no. So what I'm saying. So why did it shift? So last year you were defending them when people were alluding.
Because when you become selfish, like when it's like about the team winning and just point to a ring finger, who cares? Right? Who cares? But when you're talking about fighting, and when you're talking about fighting, and
doing it in the opponent's face is a little bit different than just.
Man, listen, it happens all the time in football. I mean, I done gotten people's faith. I done said something to players and talked about their mama like I can't say on radio. I mean, so I've done that kind of stuff, but I didn't go to the post game.
Well, I come from Alabama, Coach Saban. Okay, the guy you saw what he did how he freaked out when they put those horns down. That's what I'm used to. Like, everything was about class and doing things respectfully. So there's just.
I call them classes was a tweet that I put after the game.
That's a little harsh.
Because Flo J is a rapper. She's got a song out. Maybe we can find it wired on Flo J's rap song. I'd love to hear what that is. But let's talk about our bag and all this. And then I get her platform, Angel Reese, trying to give young black girls a platform that, hey, you can make it. You can be successful. Look at me. I'm from Baltimore, as she say.
Right.
I'm from the inner city. And I got mad love for that game. I preach that game all the time. But the thing is, but do you got to talk about some things like bags and this, that can come also with a negative connotation. That's all I'm saying. They are a team that's hard to like, and it starts with their coach, to be honest with you. And some people said the same thing about Nick Saban. They thought it was mean. Oh. He was hard on his assistants. He was hard on... Yeah, that's been said for years.
Wait. Oh, we're talking about his coaches? I thought you said it was hard to like. I'm like... A lot of people outside of Alabama thought Nick Saban was a jerk and he was hard to like, and so that's why they hated Alabama, and they still do. No, they hated Alabama because we win so much. I mean, let's be honest.
Well, that too, but they talk, believe me, I know. I'm around a lot of people.
Why would somebody not like
phone calls?
That makes no sense.
App messages.
To you by Tidwell Chiropractic, the only third-generation chiropractor with over 26 years experience in Tuscaloosa. Call Tidwell Chiropractic at 752-2503.
Tide 100.9 Tuscaloosa weather.
A very warm afternoon. The sky partly sunny, the high 82. For tonight, fair with a low at 65. Tomorrow, warm and breezy. Showers and thunderstorms by mid to late afternoon. Those storms could be strong to severe. The high 83. I'm James Spann on the ABC 3340 Weather Center on Tide 100.9. It's 76 degrees in Tuscaloosa.
This is Miller's Edge on Tide 100.9.
Young Metro, don't trust you, I'm gonna shoot you.
$119 on the dial. The Monday edition of the Miller's Edge, right on the Tide 100.9. Is this Flo J?
No, it is not.
Okay, not Flo J. 205-342-9904. We got some app messages we want to get to. Let's Wyatt, let's do a couple calls first, then we hit the app messages. To the phone lines we go, and Ellis, I believe. Ellis, welcome in.
How y'all doing, fellas?
Happy Monday, my friend.
Yeah, happy Monday. Happy April Fool's Day.
Ooh.
Oh, yeah. I keep seeing stupid stuff all on Twitter, and I'm like, man.
I haven't seen anything yet.
You probably have, and you probably just were deceived. So just beware.
Oh, I did see the Caleb Downs transferring back to Alabama because his father, blah, blah. I saw that one. I did see that one about Caleb Downs headed back to Alabama.
All kinds of stuff. When y'all started talking about Coach Saban, I got to say this first. I seen it's like a short video of him when he's on the sideline, and we're way ahead of the score on the scoreboard, but he's still coaching, and he's sitting there looking. All of a sudden, he starts hollering out "nickel," I mean, screaming it out, and then he runs right out there to the field. I forgot who it was, boy, and I mean chewed that young man out. And I go, that's Coach Saban right there.
Yep. That's it.
Even though they was ahead, he was still a coaching. I guess is that a certain kind of defense, nickel?
That's the personnel, yeah. So what everybody keeps talking about 4-2-5 with Kane Womack's defense, that's what nickel is. It's a personnel with 5 DBs in the game. So yeah, he was trying to. They were trying to change the personnel. I don't know. We might have been in regular. We might have been in dime. I don't know. But he was trying to get. He was trying to get the nickel. That's what we do. So they hold up the sign on the sideline, which would be like you're holding up a 5, like 5 fingers. You hold that up. That's nickel. And so that's what they're doing. And when the nickel corner is coming in, whoever's subbing in is supposed to hold that up as well, so everybody gets it. And guys weren't paying attention, and unfortunately, they ended up having to call a timeout, and it drove them nuts. Even though we probably were up tremendously in that game. But
yeah, they were up, and I mean, woo, Lord, had to call that timeout. I mean, he chewed some butt. I thought, man.
Yeah. Yeah, he's going to coach you hard, man. That's all I was saying about the Kim Mulkey thing. I mean, I can't speak on the things that she's done that might be prejudiced or sexist or homophobic, whatever. I don't know. I'm just saying, though, but I saw a lot of it at least seem to talk about her coaching style and how tough she is on folks. And I just was thinking in my head, I'm like, I mean, if they try to get a microscope and go look at every single thing, like a tough coach like Coach Saban or any of these other Kirby, any of these other hard-nosed coaches have said or done, I mean, you could probably do the same thing, and it might sound bad, but again, as players, I mean, that's part of it. That's what you signed up for.
I don't mind the hard coaching. I mean, I grew up with it. I grew up in an era where in high school, and I can remember this so vividly, you mess up a play, and especially offensive lineman, the coach would be like, "Hey, John, get back down in that stance again. Let me see that stance." And he'll kick you right square in the gluteus maximus. Back when I played high school ball, kicking guys in the butt was a norm. That was kick them right in. Hard kick them in the butt.
You couldn't do that now.
No, you can't do that now. That's what I'm saying. No. I grew up on that kind of coaching, so it's not that with me with Kim Mulkey. I can appreciate what she said even yesterday. The era she grew up in, and she was like, they couldn't coach now. We know that, but my point is, they still part of it. They take on that toughness and how they play. I like that about LSU. They play hard. They play fearless. I don't have a problem with that. It's just the attitude, the things that they say, how she treats the media. I mean, she treats the media like trash sometimes.
I agree on that part. There's a point, you can get to, but
she's too much. I mean, and I love her stances. I mean, like she gonna let them run over. I mean, I get that, but sometimes she treats them like they're, just like nothing. I mean, and that to me is a problem.
Yep.
That's all. But I can't deny four championships and what she's done in her career. Much mad respect what she's done to go to LSU in the second year and winning the national championship and changing the culture of that program. I ain't gonna deny that. Kudos to her. But I mean, her girls, and it ain't all of them. It's the main ones. It's Flo J, it's Angel, and a couple other ones maybe. The stuff that they say, even while in the press conference sitting right next to the coach, to me, it's just this. I don't know. It's classless. That's just my thoughts.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm not shocked what some people call them thugs and think, because they say stuff that make people say these things about them. I don't like that either. But the thing is, that's what people are saying because they act foolish sometimes, and they shouldn't act that way.
I was going to say, y'all talked to Chris Stewart earlier. When I watched the ball game, Alabama and Clemson, I turned the volume down on the TV and listened to Chris Stewart. So,
yes, sir.
I like that better. It really gets you motivated, listen to somebody like that, because he is motivated when he's doing a ball game. I mean, really motivated.
I love that saying. Let's get out of here. Let's get out of here.
Yes, sir. But I gotta say, if we lose this weekend, I'm not gonna be upset. I'm like, blah blah blah. Hey, look, we made it that far. First time ever, Final Four, and we made it. So if they lose, I'm not going to be upset about it because I'm happy for them that they got as far as they did.
Yeah,
and I think
house money.
Do you think they, Christian? I talked about it here a good while back about being overachieved. Do you still think that, or do you think they overachieved?
That's a great question. I would say kind of in between. I mean, I think based off potential, it doesn't necessarily surprise me that they've been able to achieve this, of going to a Final Four. I thought last year they had the potential to go to the Final Four. It's just, they didn't play a great game. I think Brandon Miller struggled when we played San Diego State and we got sent home. But But I'd be lying if I said I had them penciled in to go to the Final Four realistically. I know, like my dad said, I mean, obviously Alabama fans were optimistic and said, hey, yeah, this is our year and we're going to do it. But realistically, I'll be honest, on my bracket, I did not have them going to the Final Four. And it's not that I didn't feel like they have the talent or potential. I just know how difficult it is. And the way we kind of have been struggling on defense, I thought that might, be a compromise for us at some point. But they found a way at the right time. And I think that's ultimately what matters. So, I mean, honestly, to answer your question, Ellis, it's a really good question. It's kind of like in between. Like, it's kind of in the way they finish the season, in a sense, they've overachieved. But based off of potential and, what they've been able to do, I don't know. If I had to pick one, I would probably say they overachieved, personally.
I was going to say that's the only answer. That is the only answer.
I mean, is it though? Because think about it. Take away those last few games at the end of the regular season. I mean, people thought they might have been a top seed almost.
Yes.
So I mean, if that's the case, it's not really overachieving. That's what I'm saying. If they didn't struggle the last few regular season games and they played better in the SEC tournament, I mean, I could be wrong, but why would they not have been at least a 2 seed if they finished the regular season better?
They were projected as one of the top 3 seeds. If they had finished the regular season better, and if they had maybe made a little bit of a run in the SEC tournament, they could have gotten to a 2.
Yeah, see, that's what I'm saying. That's why I'm like borderline. Maybe it's not so much overachieving, but at the end of the day, yeah, if I had to pick one, I'm going.
Well, I'm just saying, but when he's asked that question, you go back and say nobody had them pegged regardless as a team that probably a Final Four team. That's why when you use that, you say, yes, they did overachieve. And that's why in the beginning, Ellis, I talked about the luck of the draw when it comes to tournament playing, some teams that the first couple of rounds that you didn't have. It's kind of like South Carolina. South Carolina was a good team. I know they weren't great. If South Carolina would have got to the Final Four, I would have been like, wow. But they caught lightning in the bottle, had a break, playing the right team. There might have been some upsets before them, so they avoided playing certain teams. And that's kind of how I feel with Alabama, because they're good. They're a really good basketball team, but they weren't a Final Four type good. Last year's team was a Final Four good because everyone else thought so, because they were overranked overall, number 1 overall, I believe, but then they lost. You know what I mean? So it is what it is. Like I said earlier, you just don't know. You just got to go play the game, and you don't make any excuses. You just go play the game, and fortunately for them, they're playing their best basketball right now.
Yeah, and I gotta say before I go, it's coming down to A-Day, and you need to get some new attire, Alabama attire. You need to stop by Alumni Hall.
No doubt. And Ellis, you need to, if you're going to the Final Four or you just want to rep it from here in Alabama, you need to head on over to Alumni Hall, because they actually have some special Alabama men's basketball gear that's specifically for the Final Four. So go check that out right now at Alumni Hall. Again, they've got all that Final Four and March Madness Alabama men's basketball apparel at Alumni Hall right now in Midtown Village in Tuscaloosa. Or you can go to the website, alumnihall.com, and see all that Final Four March Madness Alabama men's basketball gear, again, at alumnihall.com. Alumni Hall, where the ultimate Crimson Tide fans shop. Ellis, we appreciate you.
I can vouch for that.
That's
I
right.
can vouch for that. I've seen it on the website.
That's exactly right.
Well, good. Well, maybe they'll give some of that money to NIL, because you got to keep getting this team better.
Roll Tide.
Roll Tide.
Roll Tide. And maybe Mark Sears will come back if we got enough money. Maybe like $1.5 million.
I think he's about out of there. Now, the other guys, I think they all should come back.
Well, we'll see. All right, quick break. If you're on hold, we'll come right back to you. If you got app messages there, Wyatt's going to read those. That's on the flip. This is the Miller's Edge. We're on the
Just not sure I'm pulling them off.
24/7 U.S.-based customer service. It pays to Discover. Limitations apply. Learn more at discover.com/credit card.
My caretaker was very rough with me. I thought they did it because I wasn't moving fast enough.
Elder abuse is a crime, and together we can stop it. If you or someone you know has been abused, neglected, or exploited, call the Adult Abuse Hotline at 1-800-458-7214. That's 1-800-458-7214. Sponsored by the Alabama Department of Human Resources, the Department of Justice, ADECA grant number 18VA-VS050, the ABA, and this station.
This is Miller's Edge on Tide 100.9.
This is what they were playing after Nate Oates got on that ladder and started cutting. Cut it. Have you heard this song before?
Cut it.
Oh, so you have heard it. Yeah, that's what that's yeah.
No, I ain't heard this song. I just heard you say cut it. I just did my own
that's
version
literally
of
the lyrics. Is cut it. That's what they're.
Is it really?
Yeah, that's what they were playing when Nate Oates was on that ladder cutting down that net after
cut it.
Winning that berth to the Final Four. Which again,
I thought it was Flo J.
No, it's not Flo J. No, but I will say I'm on Alumni Hall's website again, alumnihall.com, and they got all that officially licensed Final Four gear. So, folks, again, if you're in the market for the hats, the shirts, I mean, this is some cool stuff. Go check it out. Again, it's officially licensed by Nike. Final Four Alabama gear at Alumni Hall or in Midtown Village. Go check them out. Some really cool stuff there. Let's head on back to the phone lines. We go to my brother. Two checks. What's going on?
Two check.
What up? How are y'all?
What's up?
Can't call it.
Not much. No, I was just gonna say I'm really happy and excited for the team. And I told you yesterday, Christian, but I thought this was pretty cool, and everybody would kind of think this was cool hearing. But I got invited last night to go to an event for James Harden here in Charlotte, and I was able to meet and hang out with like Kawhi Leonard, Russell Westbrook, and a whole bunch of guys. And I had my Alabama Final Four shirt on that I had made. And it was just kind of crazy how respected Alabama basketball is now compared to years past. I mean, these are, obviously some of the biggest basketball players in the world. So to have a lot of them stop me and, look at the shirt, like, man, we really kind of seen what they're doing and acknowledge Alabama is a really, really big thing. So a lot to be optimistic about this year. And I'm excited about it.
Was Brandon Miller there?
No, I didn't see Brandon Miller. LaMelo was there, Miles Bridges. It was really crazy seeing Kawhi Leonard there, though, because, he's got that stigma of not, being very social.
I was going to say, was he hurt? Is he on IR?
Was he talking, or was he just quiet?
Nah, I'm not going to lie to you. He is as advertised. He's very quiet. I mean, he was dressed down. He had, like, sweatpants and a sweatshirt on and a hoodie on his head, and he just, he was, just walking around. It was very surreal, seeing a lot of these people, but Russell Westbrook was probably the most personable and really was, talking a lot about Alabama and all that stuff. So it was really cool, man. I had a good time. And
he played at where? UCLA?
Yeah, he played at
West
UCLA.
Coast guy.
Yeah, he played at UCLA. But it's just crazy, man, because a couple years ago, nobody would have batted an eye at Alabama basketball.
So you're saying they're on the map now?
We're definitely on the map. I had to find
you got to Final Four, you're on the map.
I mean, I know that, but he's saying, like, I mean, some of the top players in the NBA. I mean, we got the NBA world buzzing about Alabama basketball.
Oh, they're definitely buzzing about Alabama, and they're talking about the UConn game. And Mark Sears is definitely getting his name passed around quite a bit. So I just thought that was really cool. Just those kind of high caliber guys acknowledging us was super dope. I mean, I had more of them come up to me than me. I was kind of minding my business, but. I mean, I had so many people come up to me and talk about the shirt. It was crazy. So I thought it was cool.
You might need to try to get a deal with the royalty thing and see if you can start selling them. They're gonna want that cut though.
Yeah, good luck with that, right?
Yeah, that ain't.
Well, you got to pay. What do they call that fee? Royalty fees if you use their logo. But I thought they might, since you DJ'd for the basketball games this year, that they would, when you said invite, I was like, Dad, they're going to take 2 checks on the plane to Phoenix.
Well, I mean, he can't just play.
The DJ for the...
I mean, it's not that. I mean, that'd be cool if they did. But I wonder if they do win it all. I mean, hell, are you obligated to get a ring or something?
I do believe so, yeah. No, actually, I do think so. I would probably get.
You could probably always pay to get one done. They could do that.
Yeah.
Do you get to
I would
DJ
be able to
the parade too, or are they going to have somebody else do that one?
That would be cool.
I would definitely probably do that. Yeah, I think that's why I'm so happy and excited.
What I would do is,
they need to have a watch party. They need to have a watch
some viewing parties in Tuscaloosa.
That's what they
Saturday
should
night.
do.
If I was you, I'd be down there Saturday night.
Greg Burns should
have a huge watch party.
He
You'd
should
be
hold
doing the DJing.
Wait, no, they should hold a watch party in Coleman Coliseum.
You should start it. Chris, you got all the money, so you could back it. And then,
I wish. Yeah, Alabama's
good.
good.
I bet you get it out of football players, all the other sports guys will come.
I would if I could make my money back, I'd do it. I rent it out and then charge about 25.
Well, maybe
you
it's
got
something.
charged 50.
Yeah, you got charged about.
Maybe
50
it's something we talked to them about because I mean, being realistic, I feel like every school and team does that. Even in the NBA, when NBA finals,
they ain't about to let us make the money off of it. They'll probably do it.
No, not
somebody listening right now stealing the idea.
Bugs at King's Hookah Lounge is going to have a Bugs is going to have a watch party at King's.
Exactly. Well, not to make money off of it, but I'm just saying just the school in general. I mean,
Well, everybody, if you're listening,
listening,
tweet Greg Byrne and say, let's hold a Final Four watch party in Coleman Coliseum. Get my brother there, DJ in the event. Put it on the screen. That'd be cool. And obviously, all the students are going to show up, and I think that'd be a heck of a thing to do. So,
is there a place big enough down there? You have to do it like one out in the frat houses,
Coleman
out in the
Coliseum,
yard,
brother.
Field.
Coleman.
Yeah, I just said Coleman, the basketball arena. Why would you not do it? That's what all these places do.
Will they let you have some grown man drinks in there?
They sell them during the basketball games. I'm pretty sure. I know baseball and football has alcohol. So.
Yeah,
yeah, you didn't know that? They changed the rule. You can now buy alcoholic beverages.
There's no certain arenas. Certain places do. I don't know all
Alabama. I said Alabama.
Yeah.
We're still we're
y'all can have guns. We can't.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, speaking of Alabama, I went and watched Alabama baseball play South Carolina. They played your Gamecocks, and we took that series 2-1. Y'all got the last game, but that was fun. It was cool seeing Carolina baseball here. And then it was funny enough. There's a family. There's a South Carolina family. They all had their Gamecock stuff on. I was standing watching. They're like, "Hey, can you take a picture?" And ironically, I'm like, they have no clue. Like, I'm from Columbia, South Carolina. They just happened to play because they had no clue who I was. But it's just funny. Like the person they asked to take the picture, I just happened to be from Columbia. You play there, and obviously I have so many ties there. It's just funny. I was like, "Oh, I'm from Columbia." They're like, "Oh, really?" I was like, they have no clue. But it was
that does remind me. Debo Samuel did tell me to tell you how it does last night.
Debo, now, speaking of got the money to back it, Debo got a lot of money.
Did he get signed to
a contract?
He got his deal.
Well, he just signed like an $80 million something a few years ago. So yeah, he's paid in full. That's for sure. Now Clowney's up there.
Yeah, now Clowney's here now, and obviously Brandon Miller, Bryce. There's a lot of people here in Charlotte now. A lot of good.
And I heard they just signed Stephon Gilmore today too.
They're trying to bring him back home.
That might have been that.
I'm not gonna lie, that's pretty cool to have Clowney back in the Panthers. Well, not back in the Panthers uniform, but be playing for the Panthers. He's from Rock Hill and him dominating at South Point. Hell, him and Gilmore. They get Gilmore, that'd be really cool. But I saw that he's gonna be rocking number 7. I think Shaq Thompson's back in 54. So I think that's
all they're missing is your comeback, man. They need it.
That shit.
Let's go. Let's get it. Let's get it. All right, that's 2 checks. We're gonna work on the watch party. Greg Byrne, won't you tag on the tweet? Just tag.
I just said everybody. I don't even think he uses Twitter. All right, CJ. Go ahead.
I'll ask my director something about it. I mean, I know they've talked about. I mean, the guy that directs the SEC events, he's reached out to me about like neutral site stuff before. But I think this is something we could get done. But I'll reach out, and either way, it's been a fun ride. I'm excited for the game, so I'll talk to you.
No doubt. Sounds good, man. I'll see you.
See ya.
All right, 2 checks. There you go. The DJ, the official DJ of the Alabama Crimson Tide men's basketball team, and. Yeah, when you go into these types of championship games, they use a neutral guy, so it's not like home court for anybody. 205-342-9904. We got several app messages, again, free download for you, Tide 100.9 Wide. Let's do one of those, shall we?
Yeah, our first app message here is from Tia. She says, I prefer the way Dawn Staley coaches her team with them being dogs on the court, professional off the court. However, as people, we love players that show passion. Think about it. The most memorable moments from Alabama football fans in the Saban era are Tony Brown's "Thank you, Dabo Swinney" speech, Bo Scarborough putting his hand in the Tennessee fans' face, and even the fights on the sidelines. Those passionate teams somehow win games.
I mean, that's very well said. I agree with her. Yeah, being professional. That's kind of that was always our thing. I mean, it was also respecting our opponent. That's how I was basically that was instilled in me to always respect our opponents. Have class on and off the field, be professional. So I like that. But she is right. I mean, the most entertainment comes from those passionate players, those passionate moments. I mean, Tony after that Clemson game was hilarious. I mean, that honestly might be the greatest interview I've ever watched. And then just seeing, I think,
as long as if he just knew how to cover a bunch route, I'd like it even better.
Look, man. I mean, seriously. I mean, look, man. I mean, look. We lost the game. The play broke down. Whatever.
He talked down, but he sure gave that bunch route.
Yeah, dude. But here's the thing, though.
But Hunter Renfro down if he got where he was supposed to be.
But he wasn't on the side where Mike Williams or whoever it was mossed somebody for a big 30-yard or whatever.
That was Marlon Humphrey.
No, it wasn't. I think that was Anthony Averett. But it doesn't matter. So I'm saying, look, man, I get it was that play, whatever, that they won the game off of. But there was a lot of things in that game that we could have done better before they.
Thank God, Nate
Olsen, don't blame them.
Alabama men's basketball team helped me out. Now I wear my Alabama A around here. They hate it. They hate it.
You only thought it was going to the Final Four. Only when it works in your favor.
Yeah, I wear my A. I wear my hoodie. And they looking at me like, dude. I'm like, yeah. It's the University of South Carolina men's basketball team. The University of South Carolina women's basketball team. And now the Alabama Crimson Tide men's basketball team. We've been in the Final Four. What about you, Clemson? Clemson? Raise your hand. This is what I said at Starbucks. Raise your hand if your team has been in the Final Four. All the Gamecocks raise their hands. Don Staley, Frank Martin, the men's basketball team. I have my A on. Nate Oates and Alabama. Welcome to the Final Four club. Clemson, what about y'all? Clemson? Crickets. Maybe next year. Let's wait till next year. We'll be back in a moment. Wait till next year.
Weekday mornings at 6 a.m. The Martin Houston Show.
Join the Martin Houston Show for a Tuesday edition of the program. We'll have DC Capstone Report in. We'll continue the conversation around this historic run by the University of Alabama basketball and Nate Oates. We'll get DC's thoughts. We'd love to get your thoughts as well. 205-342-9904. That's the Alabama One hotline. Those conversations and more right here on your home for
Refund. Find out next week.
Switch to Intuit TurboTax and make your moves count. See guarantee details at turbotax.com/guarantees. Experts only available with TurboTax Live.
The Alabama Securities Commission protects you from financial fraud. Anyone asking you for investment money must be licensed. You're careful with your money. Fraudsters aren't. Before you invest, call our hotline at 1-800-222-1253 to verify the licensing of the person making an offer and the product. Don't lose your hard-earned money. Learn to protect yourself at asc.alabama.gov. Paid for by the Investor Protection Trust and brought to you by the Alabama Broadcasters Association and this station.
Tide 100.9 Tuscaloosa weather.
A very warm afternoon. The sky partly sunny, the high 82. For tonight, fair with the low at 65. Tomorrow, warm and breezy. Showers and thunderstorms by mid to late afternoon. Those storms could be strong to severe. The high 83. I'm James Spann on the ABC 3340 Weather Center on Tide 100.9. It's 75 degrees in Tuscaloosa.
This is Miller's Edge on Tide 100.9.
All right, 148, final segment here. Hour number 2. Boy, time really does fly when you're having some fun. You know, Dawn Staley said something yesterday, and I love Dawn Staley preaching after she gets a platform. She preaches when she wins, she preaches when she loses, even in defeat. But when you talk about old school, Nick Saban, this is the kind of stuff I like. It's what Derrick Henry had to say on the pivot. Check it out.
Just like a funny story. I mean, we got plenty of stories. I'll tell you a funny one. One time we was in the meetings, because Saban, he old school, couldn't stand if anybody scored and wanted to celebrate afterwards. So we in the meeting one day after the game, forgot who he played, and he pulling up film. He's showing everybody that he talking about, and you guys, you stop doing all that showboating, doing all that praying hands and act like you thanking God. And then later on that night, 12 o'clock, you down there, got Black and Miles, got liquor, you chasing. He was like, forget all that. We were crying. We couldn't do nothing but laugh because he was right. It's just like, you gotta do your prayer, you get on one knee, then 12 o'clock comes, you got that smoking Black and Miles in the corner, drinking liquor, smoking, all the time, chasing girls. That shit, man, that shit was so funny, but I was like, bro, he was tired of y'all. Yeah, he was tired of y'all. He was out of us, bro.
Derrick Henry right there, guys. Former running back for the Tide, NFL stud. Listen, Dawn Staley yesterday was preaching, and she's always talking about giving the glory to God and things like that. But one thing she said, like, she don't want to be one-sided. And she talked about last year they lost when they was undefeated like they are now in the Final Four, and they lost to Iowa. And she said how that really hurt her, but she still gave glory to God. But that's what Coach Saban is saying. And I can vouch for Coach Saban because y'all were some Black and Mild smoking son of a guns.
Well, y'all
didn't go by All-Out Cigars, 2703 6th Street, and get nice cigars that Reagan and Randy would have probably even given to you before NIL. He probably was like, here you go, smoke these. Y'all were smoking Black and Mild. I used to go to your dorm, especially if Ruben and all them dudes were lighting up Black and Mild, Newports. I'm like, how is this team so good and smoke more cigarettes?
We won. See, maybe these kids nowadays need to smoke a few Black and Milds. We need some more dogs. I mean, honestly, they ain't smoking enough of them. I personally didn't. No, I don't condone smoking. I'm being funny. But I was a dipper, though. I used to chew Copenhagen, Grizzly Wintergreen, all that stuff. But you're right. You did have some guys that indulged in that. But again, I think that might have been why we're good, man. We had those dudes.
Y'all were tough, man.
That's what I'm saying. We had some tough dudes, and it worked for them. They could do it. They could hit the Black and Milds and go run 110s. I told my story about me trying the cigarettes and doing 110s, and it didn't go well. So I personally couldn't.
No, that ain't gonna work.
Them dudes were built different. I mean, even post-game, them guys had celebratory stuff. It worked for them.
And I love the GOAT because he called y'all out. Because that's what happened.
Coach Saban is
they want to raise their finger in the air when they score a touchdown or make a field goal and fall on their knees, open their hands up wide, pray, run down the field. You're not talking about hypocrisy. Hold on. And then they be down there, like Coach Saban said, y'all chasing women, drinking liquor, smoking Black and Mild.
And you did the same thing, probably even worse, times 10. You probably went on that football field when you played.
I don't think I had a celebration like that. My sack celebration was more about.
I'm not saying the same celebration, but
it was more on the Angel Reese side of things.
Hold on now, don't throw stones in the glass house now. Now I will say that Coach Saban is involuntarily funny though. All right, he doesn't even try to be funny. That's why I love Coach Saban because I know what Derrick is talking about, and it's like he would go on these tangents where he gets so mad about something, and it's like we're trying and honestly half the time we would start laughing anyway. And I think he kind of did it because I think he enjoyed it. He knew it was being funny. He was dead serious, but he kind of was cutting up at the same time. But we were dead.
Oh, he was laughing about it.
No, but see, that's the thing. On the outside, he's not laughing, but he's got. Because then what happens is when we laugh, he starts digging deeper. Because then he starts going more and more. And then he starts going more and more as we laugh. So I think he knew what he was doing. But it's that kind of stuff that people talk about, Coach Saban. That is so funny, man, because he keeps it real.
I bet. You think Kalen the boy know what a Black and Mild is?
I mean, I don't know. The dude wasn't born yesterday. I'm sure he knows what a Black and Mild is. I mean, I don't know. I mean, we can ask him, but no, you know who we are. So we will. I forgot to mention this. We'll get into football because, again, they are practicing today. They're scheduled to have a practice this afternoon. We will be joined by defensive coordinator Kane Womack tomorrow, talk some X's and O's and break stuff like that down.
Yep.
with him at 12:30. So make sure you guys tune in tomorrow at 12:30. We'll have defense coordinator Kane Womack. Kane Womack on with us.
Don't do like a lot of these other radio people say Womack. Like, dude, that's
Womack.
not his name.
Well, I mean, I made that mistake
Womack,
at first because I played with Matt Womack, but it was just one M. So it makes sense. He was Matt Womack. This is Kane Womack. So, yeah, excited to do that because I want to pick his brain about his defense, kind of his philosophies, maybe dial up some hypotheticals, see kind of where his mind goes in terms of how he's going to call his defense. So that'll be a lot of fun. Again, 12:30 tomorrow with Kane Womack. We'll have him on the show.
Yeah, real quick, too, and I want to hit the other app mess before we get out of here. Vontae Davis played a lot of years in the National Football League.
Brother of Vernon Davis.
Passed away, found dead.
It is Miami home.
At such a young age.
Sad. He was the one that I think retired at halftime just a couple of years ago. He pretty much hung it up literally in the locker room at halftime. I mean, like halftime, he literally hung his cleats up and never played again. I jokingly say that just because that is such a great story. Because I respect him, man. Like if you're not feeling it no more, why waste another half, man? Just call it if it's that time. But definitely on a serious note, man, I hate to hear that. Never want to hear.
Yeah, that's just sad news.
With anybody,
Tragic,
former players, it's definitely tragic for sure. Why?
And then Tennessee women's basketball coach has been fired too. So just some other SEC news, if you will. Women's basketball coach of Tennessee has been fired. We got Jessica, I believe, on our app message.
This first app message here was from KJ. He said, Saban was getting soft near the end. He knew he had to recruit and the world had changed, so we saw J-Mo with grills and his cell phone in his pants during games. I'm sure Saban just shook his head and ignored it. People said Saban treated the media bad too, just like they said that about Mulkey. People have a problem with winners. I do believe it should be a balance between now Alabama media members going behind podiums and stuff, doing things they would never do with Saban.
Well, yeah, you got more access now as a media member, but Saban was not Kim Mulkey. I mean, come on.
He's not Kim.
He got on media when he had to. He didn't like when they wrote certain things, but then he always thanked them. He thanked them every year at the SEC meeting when I covered it.
No, he definitely would do the right thing, but you can't sit there.
He knew they had a job to do. Now he's in the media, but Kim Mulkey, she stinks. I'm sorry. All right, let's get to Jessica real quick.
To be fair to his point, you can't say there wasn't sometimes like he would get on media members.
He would, but he's not Kim Mulkey. Don't even put the dope in Kim Mulkey's category.
I'm
talking to KJ.
All right, I'm just saying.
I mean, I'm talking to KJ who sent the atmosphere.
But he said
Coach Saban was not Kim Mulkey. She is not. Nah, I'm sorry. That's wrong. Let's get to Jessica. Let's see what Jessica had to say.
Jessica says, Christian's brother said he's shocked about Kawhi being out partying. He must not have seen the video of Kawhi in the strip club in Atlanta palming the backsides of women with one hand. They don't call him the claw for nothing.
Oh, wow. Oh, dang.
I am not touching that one. Nope.
Well,
C-Mill is staying away from that one.
Yeah. Well, I mean, look, I mean, that's a fair point. I forgot about it.
She said she didn't call him a club for no reason.
I remember hearing that, but was it a video of him in the club or something?
Yeah, there was a video of him in the club, and
he was partaking.
Big Hands was on the backside of some women.
Stop it. Why is that Big Hand?
Yeah, that might be a little dangerous. He
does promo basketball fairly easy.
He might need to refrain. Yeah, well, yeah. So envision that. Probably don't. I don't want to ruin your lunch, folks. I'm sorry. Man, well, that painted such a clear picture there. Thanks, Jessica. With that being said, let's go ahead and wrap things up because this is getting out of hand right here. But again, make sure you tune in tomorrow, 12:30.
I think this is good.
It is great. It is good radio. 12:30 tomorrow. Kane Womack will join us for talking some X's and O's with him. So again, make sure you tune in then. But yeah, man, no, I don't know where to go from that one, man. Now I'm just thinking about Kawhi
I'm watching
Leonard.
the video right now.
Oh, okay, Pastor. You probably shouldn't be watching that video.
Pastor of something else.Maybe not pain, but
it might rhyme with corn. All right, I'm just kidding. All right, here we go. Let's get
it'd be like that wasn't. I mean, I didn't see nothing with the video. It just shows him sitting down, but.
Oh, you were quick to try to pull it up.
As you say, we're not throwing listen. I can tell you, as a preacher, I listen. I don't have my. I sent many women to colleges paying some of their tuition at the strip club growing up. So I get it. I understand. I done seen the dollars making it rain. So, but you can change your life. The good news why we celebrated Easter yesterday, right?
Yeah.
He snatched the keys of death and hell so that we can be forgiven for strip club sins.
That's
Amen.
exactly.
And aid to the men. All right. Many thanks to Chris Stewart, voice of the Alabama men's basketball team and the football team, for joining us in hour number 1. We'll get that up for you if you missed that, as they get ready to head back out west to Phoenix for the Final Four. I heard Wyatt is going to the Final Four, too. What airline? Why don't you fly no cheap airline, Wyatt? What airline you flying?
I'm leaving out of Atlanta at 6 a.m. on Frontier Airlines, so it's going to be a lot of fun.
Are you on Frontier?
It was the cheapest flight I could find at 11 o'clock Saturday night.
We're going in corporate prayer for Wyatt Friday. I'll be up at early morning praying for you on Frontier Airline. My God. Come on, we got to get a radio station to step up their game. Or we can do fundraisers for Wyatt that he can get a better flight coming back home. All right, for Christian, for Wyatt, for Corey, for Chris Stewart, for all of us, thank you. God bless you. Have a great rest of your day. Ron Fowler is next.